Доброго вечора, ми з України.
Hello, comrades, and welcome back to Ushanka Show. Stories about life in the Soviet Union. Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи! В эфире программа Ushanka Show. In today's video, I'll tell about life on credit in the Soviet Union, but before we begin, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't done so. Consumer credit in the Soviet Union was called РАССРОЧКа, and it's based on the word срок, so like a term, so that's like extended payment program. РАССРОЧКа. РАССРОЧКа was created by Executive Order number 915 back in 1959, so this is Khrushchev era, and it was called selling long-term usage goods on credit. So that's like your refrigerator, TV set, and so on. It's kind of interesting that the Soviet government decided they need this Soviet credit system, this РАССРОЧКа, even though Soviet citizens didn't have a major expense as people in the West. They didn't have to spend a lot of money on their housing. It wasn't free. As I mentioned earlier, about 10% of average personal income, that was the cost of renting an apartment. So you might guess that Soviet people had plenty of money to buy goods outright, and they didn't need the credit system. In fact, РАССРОЧКа system became extremely popular among Soviet consumers. I recall my mom telling me that this is how they bought pretty much everything in our household. Our first refrigerator, Dnieper 2, was purchased on РАССРОЧКа. After it was paid off, they bought black and white TV. After that was paid off, they bought a vacuum cleaner. So she said, Sergey, pretty much everything we were buying, even clothing like a winter jacket, we were buying on РАССРОЧКа on extended payments. РАССРОЧКa's terms and conditions were quite basic. You had to pay down 20-25% of cost of the goods. The rest you pay off from 6 up to 12 months, and the interest rate was 1 or 2%. So interest rate was pretty low. While researching this topic of РАССРОЧКа, I found this article, so that's probably from 1960, from Irkutsk, so that's a Soviet Siberia. It's how the РАССРОЧКа system was introduced in the local store, and it says that customers were very happy about this new form of trading. At that time, since it was introduced, they sold 829 different items, mostly sewing machines, watches, Motorolers, bicycles, radios, at a total amount of 600,000 rubles. The list of items that was allowed to sell on credit included, as I mentioned earlier, radios, cameras costing more than 400 rubles, bicycles, motorcycles M1M and K58, outboard engines Moskva, sewing machines Tula, hunting rifles cost from 700 rubles and up, wristwatches in metal case, that's interesting, as well as clothing made from wool and silk. And they even created a system for convenience of workers that use the РАССРОЧКа system, that their payments were automatically deducted from their salary and transferred to the store that sold them goods on credit. Several months later, there was a second article on the same topic, Tavары в рассрочку, so goods on credit, and they discussed that 2 months ago, the store number 18 started selling on РАССРОЧКа, and people really liked it, and in 2 months, 733 customers purchased on credit different goods for 528,000 rubles. So what type of goods were purchased on РАССРОЧКа? 72 sewing machines, 191 radios, 15 Motorolers, 46 photo cameras, 9 LP players, 158 bicycles, 18 radios, and 225 wristwatches. Out of this list, I personally found extremely interesting that 225 wristwatches were purchased on credit in РАССРОЧКа, which kind of tells you that or watches were so expensive or people were so poor, because buying a wristwatch on payments, it's pretty sad. And now the most interesting question, so how the payments are going? So that's what the question was asked to the director of the store, Yakov Fomich Epstein, and he said the majority of customers paying on time, but there were several people that already missed payments. So even in the Soviet Union, during the socialism, there'll be people that will use the credit, and then they'll fail the payments. And here the store director says something very interesting. Failing to pay on time causes the financial damage to the state. So you see, there's no private enterprise, so failing the payments, it's a damage to the state. But we're sure that in the shortest period of time, they will cover their debt. For example, and here, that's another beauty of the Soviet system, he mentions people by name, and it was published in the newspaper. The Pyotr Petrovich that worked at the Gipsel Electro purchased wristwatch Era, but already missed 2 payments. Another guy, Timofeev Konstantinovich, purchased radio receiver Muromets and also already missed 2 payments. Several other people are not accurate in their payments, so they miss payments. For example, Anatoly Vasilievich from the Irkutsk mechanical factory, Anatoly Alexandrovich that lives on the street Krasnoy, so they give the address, and another guy. So in the article, they actually published the names of the people that failed on payment. So there's like a massive shame campaign. That's pretty interesting. The last item that I remember my family purchased using РАССРОЧКа system was the color TV Electron. They were purchased, I believe, around 1986. So before 1986, we had a black and white TV Slavutich, and that's only when we got a color TV is 1986. It was very expensive, 650 rubles. It's almost 4 months worth of my dad's salary, so we used РАССРОЧКа. When I found extremely interesting that even we had a consumer credit system, cars had to be purchased for cash. So the most expensive items available for sale in the Soviet Union, cars, we're talking 9,000 rubles, 7,000 rubles. People had to pay cash for those items, which is kind of strange. When I talked earlier about РАССРОЧКа interest rates, it was more like a convenience fee and had a really basic bracket. So if you take РАССРОЧКа for 6 months, it's 1% fee from the amount of purchase, of course. If you take it for 9 months, it's 1.5%, and 12 months, 2% fee. I found interesting that Soviet consumer was allowed to have only one РАССРОЧКа at the time, so you can't have a refrigerator and a wristwatch, so like 2 credit lines going on at the same time. You have to pay off refrigerator in order to take a РАССРОЧКа to buy a wristwatch. Well, my friends, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about Soviet РАССРОЧКа, please post in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to like it, subscribe to my channel, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye.
I'm from Canada.
Hello, my name is Mr. Jewish. I'm from Lebanon.
Good morning, my name is Jack. I'm from
My name is Sarah Lahan. I'm from Jordan.
Good morning, my name is Alan Moore. I'm from Canada.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Michael. I'm from Bulgaria.
Hello, my name is Miguelina Fuentes and I am from Mexico.
Hi, my name is Rosa Umerovich. I'm from Bosnia.
Hi, my name is Andrei Borotovic. I'm from Bosnia.
Hi, my name is Mayra Birakovic and I'm from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Hi, my name is Fatima Kenik. I'm from Bosnia.
Hi, my name is Benjamin Kanik and I'm from Bosnia.
My name is Dino Dorotovic and I'm from Bosnia.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. I'm from Bosnia. Hi, my name is Linda Cloud, and I'm from Canada, and I can vote!
Hi, my name is Maricela Pascual and I'm from Mexico.
Hi, my name is Sylvia Hernandez and I'm from Guatemala.
Hi, my name is Ali Peterson, and I'm from Latvia, and I have waited years to become a citizen. And I'm proud today to become a citizen with tears to my eyes.
Hi, I'm Carmela Robles from Philippines.
I'm Jeffrey, I came from Ukraine.
Morning, I'm Rick Northup from Canada.
Good morning, this is Executive Gori coming here.
Good morning, this is Mahesh Nekhani, born in India.
Now I'm going to ask all of our new citizens to please stand and raise your right hand and I will.
Sergey wrote a book based on diaries he made when he was first in the United States. And as I understand, this is just volume 1, right?
That's correct.
He's going to have multiple volumes coming out. Well, I said, well, since Sergey is kind enough to come up and speak with us, I bought the book. I said, I might as well read this. I read this in one sitting. 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I just couldn't put it down. It was so fascinating because your writing is very compelling, for one. And his story is very interesting for two. It's very interesting. You know, we've lived here our whole lives. We don't have that perspective. It's just so interesting to hear someone else's perspective about what we take for granted. So I hope you really tune in and listen to what he has to say. It's a very interesting, very informed perspective. Sergey is not a historian. He's an electrical engineer by trade, but I find that he has a depth of understanding on history, economics, culture. So just a very observant fellow and a great storyteller. So